Hello, it's Orit here. Welcome back to another Etsy video. I have gone through so many of your questions on the previous videos that I've done, and although I can't get to all of them, I do see them. So thank you so much for posting those and providing feedback. The main question that I am getting that prompted this whole video is talking about shipping. So how do you calculate shipping for your products so that you're not losing money in the end? This is another convoluted topic that I could do many videos on for you, but I'm going to start with this one. And at least from there, I know it'll create another discussion. You'll send questions and that kind of thing, so we can really start to dive into those questions that you have if you need them. So how to calculate shipping on Etsy. So I'm going to simplify this for you, but I'm going to start off by saying you're not going to figure it all out from the start. You actually have to take this information that I'm giving to you, implement it, and see for yourself and start to see if it actually works with your particular items, with your store, where you're sending your items to, that kind of thing. You're not gonna have everything perfect to start. So my goal for you in this video is to just get a better understanding of how to calculate your shipping costs so that you don't lose money and you're able to actually set up shipping profiles in your store to get you going. So before I started filming this video, I threw together this really quick, not very nice looking presentation. It's not really a presentation, it's just something so that you have notes on the screen to look at. Since I know for myself, I learn very visually, so this might help you digest the information better. So there's two separate methods for shipping, two different ways that you can go. You can either get Etsy to calculate the shipping for you on an item, or you set the shipping fees and costs. So with the calculated shipping profiles, you will be providing the weight and the dimensions of your item. And based on where the buyer is and also what method they choose to receive their item, Etsy will, using their estimates with USPS and all that kind of stuff, will estimate the shipping cost and then show that shipping fee to your buyer at checkout. So it's a calculated shipping profile. So with this, the shipping costs are calculated by Etsy. They use the weight of the item, the dimensions, the buyer's address, as well as the shipping method that they choose or the courier service that the buyer chooses. They'll show them that shipping fee, and that's how shipping is calculated. The other way is you set up fixed shipping profiles for your items. So you set the fee on how much you want to charge for shipping. The smart way to do this would be first to estimate your shipping costs to make sure you're not losing anything. And it's not just about shipping too, right? You have packaging costs and handling costs. When you see shipping and handling, the handling part is typically like if the time that it takes you to package an item, if that is a significant amount of time. So that's kind of the benefit to going with fixed shipping profiles, because you can incorporate all of that in there, but you also are more in control. So there is a benefit to going with the calculated shipping profiles just because it's more automated. You're letting Etsy do the work, but I always say to my clients that, you don't want to automate something that you don't really understand fully, because you might end up with a bad result or a not so good result. So you only want to automate things that you for sure know and understand, because you want to then achieve better results. So I think it's a very good, having a fixed shipping profile is a good place to start, especially if you haven't sold anything yet on your store, because that way, you can better understand what the cost is. You can better set the cost of the shipping and then better understand the profits that are coming out of that sale. So how do we set up those fixed shipping profiles in your store? It's really simple to do in Etsy to create those shipping profiles, but you need to know what to put in terms of amounts, what you're going to charge for your items. So you kind of have to do the legwork and research ahead of time before you can actually get to that step of creating your shipping profiles in Etsy. So I've laid out this process of doing the legwork in 5 steps here. And this is the way my mind works. This is the way I simplified it in my mind to make it easier to understand what you need to do so that you can get those estimates and then plug it into your Etsy store. So step number 1, you'll need to look at the items you sell in your store and ask yourself which of these items are going to be different in terms of shipping. That typically comes down to weight, if there's a big difference in weight and a big difference in size. So you want to take a look at all of the things that you sell in your store and ask yourselves which of these items will need different shipping profiles because, that item over there weighs like 15 pounds and that item over there weighs like 1 pound, or that item over there is, really big and that one is really tiny, because those differences will matter, right? They'll each need different they will each have a different shipping cost. For us in our store, we sell t-shirts and mugs. Now those are 2 items that need different shipping profiles because the t-shirt is, quite relatively light, and the mug is it's a fixed size, first of all, so it's not like a t-shirt that you can kind of put in like one of those baggies, those mailer baggies, and then send it out. The mug will need like a box and also some bubble wrap. It's a fixed size box, and also it weighs a lot heavier than a t-shirt, right? So just estimate like that by looking at your items and identify, okay, this means I need to create 2 shipping profiles, okay? So I'll need 1 shipping profile for the t-shirts and 1 shipping profile for the mugs. And then for each item, once you've identified that, for each item, you'll need to estimate the packaging costs. You'll need to grab the dimensions of each item once it's packaged. So not the t-shirt itself or not the mug itself, but the mug in the box, the t-shirt in the packaging, the bag that you'll be sending out. So you'll need to grab those dimensions. And then you'll need to, using that information, you'll go and estimate the costs for various locations. So again, I'll go through a set example with you guys so that you can really see this in action. I am going to be talking about me as a seller in the US. Okay, so because I know the majority of the people who are watching these Etsy videos on our channel are mainly from the US, so I'm going to use the USPS website, the US Postal Service website, to estimate those costs of shipping out the t-shirt and the mug. Okay, if you are in Canada, you're going to use the Canada Post site. If you're somewhere else, you're going to use the relevant postage service site, wherever you're at. So we're going to estimate those costs, and then only then are we able to take those numbers and then put them into the shipping profiles that we will create in Etsy on our store. So it's quite a process, right? But this is kind of the legwork that you need to do to ensure that you're not losing anything. So let's go through an example. Number 1, we've already identified this in our example store, right? So I identified we would be creating 2 shipping profiles, 1 for the t-shirts and 1 for the mugs, because they differ in weight, in size, they'll be packaged differently, so they will have different shipping costs. So now that I have those 2 items in mind, number 2, I need to estimate packaging costs. Okay, so let's get out of this presentation here and start to write some stuff down. So for the t-shirts, so let me back up here. Before you can estimate packaging costs, you'll first need to know how you're going to package your items when you make a sale. So decide on what packaging you're going to use. Do some quick research, go online. You can, if you're selling t-shirts, you can easily just type in shipping packages for t-shirts, or, shipping envelopes for t-shirts, or you could do mug boxes for shipping. Whatever your item is, put that into Google. You will get suggestions. You can start to look through those things. You'll see custom packaging and all this kind of stuff to make it look great and fancy, which is awesome. But for now, keep it simple. You can always change these things later. You can always add on later, but keep it simple for right now. Okay, so I did my research. I figured out what I want to use to package my t-shirts when I ship it out to a buyer, as well as my mugs. So let's start to estimate those packaging costs. So for my t-shirts, I'm going to be using these guys right here. So I found this on Amazon. They're these like poly whatever mailer envelopes. You know, I found them on Amazon for 100 pieces for $13. So that means these envelopes are 13 cents a piece, right? Okay, so is that it for my packaging costs? What about, is there anything else? Let's think about it. So when I make a sale of the t-shirt, I'm going to just grab one of these envelopes, put the t-shirt in there, close it up. I don't need tape. I don't need bubble wrap, tissue paper, nothing like that, because these particular envelopes are, you can self-stick them. Just rip off the piece of plastic there and just close them up and they're ready to ship. So, and it doesn't require much handling either, much time. It's super easy to send out. So that's it for my packaging costs for the t-shirts. My costs are 13 cents a piece. What about for the mugs? So let's look at the mugs. For the mugs, I decided I'm going to use these little guys. All right. This is a 6 inches by 6 inches by 6 inches little box that I can put my mugs in. Now, I'm not going to just put the mug in like that into the box, right? I need bubble wrap, and I need tissue paper as well for extra padding. These are all things that I need to add on and factor into my packaging costs. It'll take a little bit of time to kind of like wrap everything up and tape it up, not too much time, but again, I need to just be mindful of that. So what are our costs? Well, for these boxes, I found this on Amazon for $25.50 for 25 of these boxes. Kind of expensive. I could have probably found a better deal, but let's just say this was my research, my bad research. And so each box will then be $1.02. Okay, that's just for the box. So we need to factor in the cost of bubble wrap, of tissue paper. If I buy like a roll of bubble wrap or a thing of tissue paper, I could do multiple mugs. So, just kind of estimate the costs in your head. I would probably say let's round it up, and you'll notice I'm constantly overestimating, within reason, right? But it's good to overestimate. So let's just say $1.50, okay? To factor in the cost of the bubble wrap, the tissue paper, the tape, the time it takes for me to package it all up and send it. So my packaging costs are done for each of these, okay? So let's just unbold that. That's not the total. So 13 cents each is my packaging cost for t-shirts. $1.50 each is my packaging cost for mugs. Okay, next step. Grab the dimensions of each item once it's packaged. So you'll actually physically need to put the t-shirt in the bubble envelope or whatever it is, the mug in the box, close it up, and write down these dimensions. Remember, it's once it's packaged, so it's very important to remember that. So t-shirts, and I took down my notes ahead of time. So, this should actually be dimensions and weight. Sorry guys, this is dimensions and weight once it's packaged. So you'll need both of those things. So I put the t-shirt in the envelope, I weighed it, and I found that it is 5.4 ounces. So the, well, I can't type. So the t-shirt is between 4 to 5 ounces, depending on the size of the t-shirt. XL will be more. And the envelope is about 0.4 ounces. So I'm overestimating, right? I'm taking the 5 ounces, adding the 0.4 to it. So I would even just go and say 6 ounces, just rounding it up. Okay, so 6 ounces is the weight of the t-shirt. Now the dimensions for this is 12 inches by 15.5 inches. And by the way, guys, you don't like physically, if you're just doing the research and you're looking at these packaging options, you haven't actually purchased them and you don't have them in your home yet, that's okay. Because when you look at, like, for example, when I looked at those t-shirt envelopes, it says the weight of the envelope, of the empty envelope on the listing. It says the dimensions of the envelope there as well. So you can estimate this without actually having it. You can find out the weight of your t-shirt because you should have that in your home. And it's just simple to add these numbers up. Just keep in mind though, the envelope for this t-shirt is 12 inches by 5.5, but when it has the t-shirt in it, right, it won't be flat anymore. So let's just say it'll be about an inch thick. So just keep that in mind. You'll want to be mindful of all of the dimensions, the height as well. The height of this will be an inch thick, let's say. So that's done for the t-shirts. What about the mugs? So the my mugs weigh 13 ounces and the box itself is 3.75 ounces. So if I add that up, it'll be 16.75 ounces. Let's just round that up to 17 ounces, which is a pound and an ounce. So let's just put 1.1 pounds for the mugs. That is, again, once it's all packaged up. So again, if you don't have the item with you, just add a little bit extra like I did, being mindful of there's the bubble wrap, the tissue paper. It'll add a little bit of weight to it, not much. So that's how you can estimate it. But if you actually have the item and the packaging with you, actually put the mug in, wrap it up or whatever your item is, and then weigh it once it's fully packaged. So that's the weight there. And the dimensions is, remember I said the box is 6 by 6 by 6. So that's all it is. So I'm going to ship that box as is, let's just say. And those are the dimensions. So we have the weight and the dimensions for each of these items. Now, what's the next step? Let's go estimate the cost. So now we can take those numbers. We can take those numbers that we discovered in the previous steps and plug them in to our shipping or postage website, wherever you're at. In the States, it's USPS, and we can discover what those costs are. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay guys, so I am on the USPS website, which is the US Postal Service website, because I'm just doing this from point of view of a seller in the States, as I mentioned, because I know a lot of people watching this video will be from the States. So let's go ahead and hover over mail and ship, go to calculate a price, and we're going to use this to estimate our costs. We want to estimate a few things. We want to estimate how much it would be to send within the country, so within the States, how much it would be to send to Canada, so North America, and then internationally, I typically choose Australia and UK as certain areas just because those are either the farthest or the places where you'll find a lot of buyers on Etsy are from, I find a lot of them are from the UK, so that would be like the main kind of international country. Could totally differ for your store though, but let's just go with that. So within the country, within somewhere in the States, Canada, and let's look at UK and Australia. So you'll be on the site for a while doing your little research. I'll just show you how to do one of them here. So destination country, let's do within the US. What zip code are you mailing from? Let's just say I'm in California, 90210. Yes, I am Canadian, so that is the only postal code I know. Let's then look at sending to New York. Okay, so I'm gonna look up New York and let's go with this one, 10001. Okay, you can just leave this date as today. If you want, you can select the time approximately which you would be mailing it out or shipping it. Would it be in the morning, the evening? But again, doesn't matter. We're just kind of getting an estimate here. So let's just say in the morning is when I'll be doing that. It's none of this stuff, and because it's a t-shirt and a mug, it doesn't require ground transportation, so I don't need to check that. What you will do here is you will you'll select calculate price based on shape and size. So even though it might be in a small envelope or a box, just choose this one, and because we have those numbers that we can put in, and it will help us estimate that way. So you can choose which unit of measurement. We did it in the standard measurement. So what's the weight of your mail piece? Okay, so let's do our t-shirts first. Remember, you'll be doing this for the different profiles of items in your store. So let's start with the t-shirt. Let's go back here. The t-shirt is 6 ounces and it has these dimensions. So 0 pounds, 6 ounces. And select from the following options. So we know that we are going to be sending that envelope. It's important to note any dimension over 12 inches is considered a large package. So actually it wouldn't be a large envelope. If it's over 12 inches, which it is, let's go back here. It's 12 by 15.5. So we'll need to select that. And I'm going to put 12. Actually, the length is 15.5. The height is 1 inch thick. The width is 12.2. Or sorry, it was 12. And then let's go continue. My package is rectangular. So if it's like an odd shape, you would choose non-rectangular, but we'll leave it at that. Go continue. And now we have our estimates. Okay, don't let these prices scare you. This is priority mail express 1 day, right? So that's not something that you'll be getting. You'll want to look at the standard shipping price. So let's look at what options we have here. Okay, media mail is basically, if you're sending educational materials, they just kind of name it media mail, like books and that kind of thing. So that's something you can look into if it applies to your store. Otherwise, you will be looking at, for 2-day shipping, it would be $9.30, and for standard, so 3-day shipping, would be $4.81. So technically, you could go and create these separate options, these separate profiles. So if you want to do standard shipping, $4.81, priority mail 2-day, $9.30, you could do that. And then the 1-day express, definitely account for that. But to keep it simple, I just want to start off by creating a shipping profile just to start, so I can have something in my store and I can start selling, and then I can add those upgrades, as they call it on Etsy, for faster shipping. So I'm just looking for standard right now. Again, keep it simple, guys. Otherwise it can get totally overwhelming. Probably it is overwhelming already. So let's go with the first class package service. $4.81 is our estimate, our shipping estimate for sending our t-shirt to a buyer in the US, across the US. So I chose something that was on purpose across the country, because I'm in California in this example. So this right here is $4.81. I would add a little, I would round it up, so put $5. So that is your standard shipping cost that you would charge to the buyer to send your t-shirt out. Okay, so I'm going to note that. Make sure you record this. So t-shirt US. $5. Okay, it's not minus, but let's do that. Okay, now we're going to look at Canada for the t-shirt, and we're going to look at international for the t-shirt. Okay, these are all standard. I'm just looking at standard shipping, and we'll do the mugs next. But okay, let's go back and do Canada now. So let's go back to the start. So destination country is Canada. So I'm going to choose that. The value of the item being mailed, let's just say $12 for my t-shirt. I'm going to leave that the same. What are you mailing? That doesn't apply to me. Okay, let's go here. Calculate price based on shipping, dimensions, and size. Okay, so what is the weight of your mail piece? Again, we have that. Let's go back here. 6 ounces and then 12 by 15.5. So let's put that in. 0 pounds, 6 ounces. It is the large package. So I'm mailing from California to, let's just say, going to continue. Is your package? Yes, it's rectangular. Okay, so what are the dimensions? We're going to do this again. 1 inch in height, 12 inches in width. Continue. So for standard, it's 1050. And again, I'm going to round that up just to be safe. So we're going to do $11. We're going to charge $11 for standard shipping for me to send the t-shirt to a buyer in Canada. So let's put that on here. $11. Okay. International. So we go ahead and do that. The process, again, will be similar. This video is already very long, so I just want to kind of take a little bit of shortcuts here to make sure that you're still hanging on with me. Let's just look at the mugs because it's a little bit different here. So let's go back to start. How about this? I'll do the mugs international with you so you can see how I'm doing that. So let's just say... Right, we said Australia. Let's just choose that. And I'm choosing that purposely just because, like, whatever's the farthest away from me, I'm going to choose because that will be, you know, typically it will cost more. We're overestimating here. We're always overestimating to be safe. What's the value? Again, I'll leave. Oh, right, this is the mug. So let's just say it's a little bit more, $15. That doesn't apply. We always go here, calculate price based on shape and size. Now the weight of my mug is different. It is 1.1 pounds. So 1 pound, 1 ounces. Okay, and is it a large package, an envelope, or a package? So is it more than 12 inches? No, it's not. It's 6 by 6 by 6. So it would be a package. And here we go. Standard international pricing. Let's see here. It's priority mail, priority, first class. Yeah, it would be this one right here. So to send to Australia, $23.50. Round that up. Let's do $25 just in case. You could, again, it's totally, you could do 24, 25. I just like to overestimate. So we'll use $25 as that overestimation. Just put this international, $25 for the mugs. Now that's, I mean, you're looking at that and like, that's crazy. You know, the mug, if you purchase, let's just say I priced my mugs at $15 on Etsy and the shipping is $25. Yes, you do have to keep these costs in mind. I mean, you don't want to lose money, right? So you either have to charge that shipping or you just don't send internationally, you know, or you find you can actually set specific countries that you will ship to. So maybe you don't choose Australia, you'll choose other international countries. You can select those things. So definitely keep this stuff in mind because buyers do accept or do expect free shipping nowadays, just the nature of Amazon and online shopping and that kind of thing. They always are looking out for those free shipping deals because people hate paying for shipping, myself included. So keep that in mind. You know, you do want to play around with these different shipping strategies, but at the same time, you don't want to lose money. So don't purposely offer free shipping if you know you're going to be losing money. That's not smart. What you can do is factor the cost of shipping into the product item, and then, you know, test out offering free shipping with that item. There's, you know, I'm kind of going off track here, but there's lots of things you could do. I actually created a video talking about free shipping on this channel, so I'll put a link down to that in the description below if you guys are into hearing more about offering free shipping in your stores. So I'm gonna just pause the video here. I will pump out the other numbers here just so you don't have to watch me do every single one, and then we'll come back and finish off the rest. All right, guys, welcome back. So I took the extra time to come up with those shipping estimates, the shipping cost estimates for each of these things, and I wrote them down here. Now, one thing I noticed and wanted to point out when I was on the USPS site right here is that, you know, for all of those examples for all of those estimates, they were all, as I mentioned, the standard, you know, the lowest standard shipping costs. But if for your standard you want to offer 2-day shipping, then by all means go ahead and do that and let people know that your standard shipping is 2 days within the States or whatever the case may be. And you can take those numbers. You are the one who is creating the shipping profiles, so you decide what goes. If you want your standard to be within the States, if you want that to be 2-day priority mail shipping, then grab this number over here and put $15 as a shipping cost rather than the standard, which is right here, $13, which isn't very much of a difference, right? So it's actually worth it to go ahead and set the priority mail 2-day for this particular example. So take a look and see what makes sense. You know, it's totally, like I said, you're creating these fixed shipping profiles, so it's up to you to decide. Okay, so now that we have these numbers, we can finally create the shipping profiles, the fixed shipping profiles in our Etsy store. So let's go ahead and do that. That's the final step right here. Okay, so to create your shipping profiles, once you've logged into your Etsy store and you are in your store manager dashboard, you'll need to go to settings and then shipping settings. And once you are in those shipping settings, you can click on shipping profiles. And as you can see, these are all the shipping profiles I've created for the sake of creating them. But here we're going to click on add a shipping profile. So I'll just go back. This is at the very bottom. You probably won't have anything in here, so it'll be at the very top. It'll say add a shipping profile. And this is where, you know, remember from the beginning of the video, Etsy asks you, do you want us to calculate it for you, or do you want to create the fixed? So here you will choose, I'll enter fixed costs manually. All right. And now we can start to create our profiles. So we are shipping from the States. So I'm going to select the States. Processing time, how long does it take you to ship an item once purchased? So meaning, what is that time in between when a buyer actually purchases to you actually being ready to ship the product? So that's the processing time. I'm starting off with my t-shirts. So for my t-shirt, it takes about 3 to 5 days to print it and make sure it's all good. Checking, making sure it's, you know, there's no errors and everything looks good. So 3 to 5 days. Now we come down here. Okay, so this is why we did it in this way. Looking at estimates for the US, for Canada, and everywhere else, meaning international, because it is set up this way. So for the states, you select the shipping carrier. I'm just going to go with USPS because that's where we did our research. If you wanted to do all of your shipping with FedEx or all of your shipping with UPS or anything else, you can select that in here. Again, you set what goes, but I'm keeping everything simple so you guys can actually get started. So we're going to select that. The mail class, remember we chose everything as, when we were looking up our estimates, it was typically all first class mail, not ground. So we're going to choose first class mail. What I'll charge is a fixed cost. So for the t-shirt, let's go back here. And again, if you forget, if you're like, what mail class was it? You can go and grab that information from here, right? For the t-shirts, I remember it was a first class thing that was kind of like the lower thing that was available. These are the mugs, so that's different. So first class mail for the one item, let's go back here, t-shirt within the States, it was $5. Now they're asking you, if let's say a buyer buys 2 shirts or 3 shirts, how much will you charge extra in terms of shipping for that extra weight included? And you kind of need to think here, because if I was doing the mugs, it would significantly increase for each additional item, because it's an extra pound, over a pound, to have another mug sent, and it's an extra box. So more packaging is involved there, right? That additional item cost will be significant for a mug. For a t-shirt, I can slip in, 3 t-shirts in one mailer. So in terms of additional items, it would be negligible, especially like the weight of a t-shirt isn't very much, and I'd be using the same mailer in most cases. If someone orders 10 t-shirts, then I won't be able to fit it in that mailer. But let's, again, keep it simple. You're really not going to be able to account for every single case right in the beginning when you're starting off your store. So just be willing to let those things go, and you'll figure it out along the way once you have those cases come up, and it'll be okay, guys. So each additional item for a t-shirt, it would be like under $1, I would say. I'm just going to put 75 cents. So if someone orders 2 or 3 shirts, they'll be charged $5 shipping, plus, let's say for 2 shirts, they'll be charged $5.75 for shipping. So Canada, okay, still using USPS. When I looked it up, again, it was the Priority Mail International. Definitely not free shipping for that. It will be, and see how easy it is, because we did the previous research. It's so much easier once you know those figures. You can just plug them in, because when you first starting your store, you probably opened up this window and you're like, I don't know what to do with this. So we put that $11 in there. Additional item, again, it's like negligible. So 75 cents, and it's okay, it's going to Canada, so this is just, it's about the same. It's not significant for a t-shirt. Your case will be different. Every item will be different. So I'm just going with this particular example here. Everywhere else, yes to still USPS. We did Priority Mail International, and that fixed cost will be $15. All right. And here, and you can read what it says here. You can hover over it. It says this amount will be added on top of the one item amount for each additional item. And additional item will be 75 cents. Alrighty. These are my shipping profiles that I've created. Again, if you wanted to offer upgrades, you don't have to do that right off the bat. Again, keeping things simple. But if you did the research to come up with those numbers for 1-day shipping, 1-day priority express mail, that kind of thing, you can add those upgrades right here. And also in the case of If you don't want, if it doesn't make sense for you to ship internationally, you can easily just trash this thing and get rid of it, like so, and only ship to the US and Canada. You can also choose specific countries as well. So if I'm adding another location here, you can put that back and choose everywhere else, or you can, select certain countries and specifically create those things. But you don't need to, guys. Keep it simple. So that's our t-shirt standard shipping profile for now. So that's what I have, right? So I've created that. That's over here. And now I can create the shipping profile for my mugs. I'm going to do the fixed costs. I'm doing this from the US. Processing time for the mugs, 1 to 3 business days. So it takes me 1 to 3 days to print that mug, make sure it's printed, everything looks good. And then putting in our numbers here, right? So going back here, mugs was $13. These prices are crazy to send a mug out, but let's just go with it for the sake of this example. And for the mugs, it was ground. So the cheapest one was the ground option. So we're going to go with that. Now, each additional item for a mug, it's extra weight, okay? And it's extra, like an extra box. Maybe you need to order bigger boxes in these cases, or you just ship 2, separately. It's up to you. Or you can put those 2 boxes in a bigger box. You need to think of those scenarios and how it applies to your particular item. You can also, just to be sure, before you fill out this piece, you can go back to the price calculator and say, factor in that additional weight. So again, let's say I'm sending to the States. I'm going to go back here. One mug was 1.1 pounds. So I'm going to now put this to see how that goes. And it was a package. Okay. So here now it's going to have changed. It is now 16, rounding things up, $17, which is a difference of $4. Okay. So I'm going to put $5. I need to charge $5 additional shipping for every extra mug that you order from me, just to factor in because of the additional weight and that sort of thing. So you guys can start to see the idea of how I'm doing this, and name your profile, create profile, and then you'll have that shipping profile show up when someone is at checkout. They'll see that fixed cost amount that you put in. All right, so that is how you calculate your shipping profiles as well as put them in and set them up in your store. This has been a super long video, and I really thank you guys for watching all the way. If you're still with me here, I know some of you need that kind of detailed explanation in order to fully understand it, because I found, just with the articles and the videos that are already out there explaining shipping, it's not enough. It didn't help me. So I wanted to really go in depth in this video and really explain it. So I hope that's been helpful for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and let's create a discussion. Let's help each other out and figure this out, because that's the only way that we're going to succeed together. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Back from the dead.